A phone rings. Nobody answers. That's the entire beginning of this story. No forced entry. No scream caught on a doorbell camera. Just a grown man not picking up his phone on a quiet Sunday evening. The kind of small, forgettable thing that happens in 1,000 households every week. Except this time, less than 2 hours later, a SWAT team is clearing a house in rural Indiana because deputies genuinely don't know who or what is still inside. I've read the court documents on this case more than once, and I keep landing in the same place. Every fact is confirmed, and none of it fully makes sense. Here's what happened, in the order investigators say it happened. Serena Dolnics is 32. Her father, Gregory, was closing in on 70. Sources differ slightly on the exact number. The two of them shared a house in Morgan Township, just outside Valparaiso, Indiana. Quiet farm country, the kind of road where you'd know who's driving before the car even passes. By Serena's own account, it was just the two of them under that roof. No roommates, no regular visitors. A father and daughter, living a life nobody outside that house had reason to look twice at. That's what makes what happened next so hard to place. There's no dramatic before in the public record. No restraining order. No documented history. Family members simply couldn't reach Gregory on July 26th. And when they asked Serena about him, court records say her answers struck relatives as odd. Evasive, somehow. Not quite right. So they did what worried families do. They called for a welfare check. Nothing more dramatic than that. Porter County Sheriff's deputies arrived just before 8 p.m. This is where it stops being ordinary. While one relative was still on the phone with 911. That same family started getting frantic calls and texts from someone else. A friend of Serena's saying Serena had hurt her father and was covered in blood. That friend, court documents say, had been locked outside the house. Nobody could say who was still inside or in what condition. So Porter County's emergency response team, essentially their SWAT unit, was brought in. Deputies moved through the house and found Gregory inside, deceased, with multiple stab wounds. Court documents also state his heart had been removed from his body. I'm going to stop the description there, on purpose. His family carries what happened in that room for the rest of their lives. And turning it into shock content doesn't serve them or you. What I will say is this. He was found near 2 recliners and a small end table. Ordinary living room furniture, the kind you'd find in any house on that road. Officers located Serena behind a bedroom door and took her into custody without incident, just before 9:45 p.m. She had no shoes on, and both feet had blood on them. At the hospital, doctors documented a hand injury consistent with a knife slipping through her grip. She waived her Miranda rights and agreed to talk. What she reportedly told detectives was almost unsettlingly mundane. She'd spent the day watching Game of Thrones while her father rested because he wasn't feeling too good. No one else had been there. Just an ordinary Sunday. According to her, anyway. Quick pause. If you prefer true crime that waits for the truth instead of guessing at it, hit subscribe now. Because what comes next is the one part of this case where her account and the physical evidence stop lining up. When detectives asked about the injury to her hand, Serena reportedly said she'd hurt herself gardening. A weed whacker, maybe a small saw. Investigators checked the property. There was no garden anywhere on it. Not a raised bed, not a single pot. Inside the home, they recovered 3 knives. Court documents say every one had blood on the handle. I want to be careful here, because this is exactly where a lot of true crime content jumps straight to a verdict the courts haven't reached. I won't do that. What I can tell you is that investigators documented the discrepancy, and it's now part of the public record. Honestly, what strikes me most isn't even the inconsistency. It's how small the explanation was. Not a denial, not a dramatic alibi, just gardening. An easily checkable, quietly deniable detail that didn't hold up. On July 28th, Serena Dolnics was formally charged with murder. She pleaded not guilty. She remains in custody without bond, and prosecutors still haven't said what they believe the motive was. Here's where I have to be honest with you. Even though it's not the ending most true crime videos give, Serena Dolnics is, right now, a legally innocent person. That's not a technicality. It's the standard our justice system runs on. Say, and it applies to her the same as anyone else. This case hasn't been tested in front of a jury. We've heard the state's version, laid out in charging documents. We have not heard hers. What we're left with is a father who died in the home he shared with his only daughter, a family trying to make sense of a tragedy from the inside, and a legal process that will take months. To reach an actual answer, I'll be watching for it. Go ahead and watch that one next. But make sure you hit that subscribe button